Happy Thursday, you guys. We got a fun work set coming your way today. Oh, it's strength today. It's gonna be a good day. So we're gonna take the intensity down a notch. We're gonna work on some quality movement, have some fun with this. We're gonna continue off this style of strength for the next 2 weeks, and then in August we're gonna change our focus and have a little bit of fun with that. But before we get to the work set, let's talk about our warm-up. We have a good morning to Sumo squat, 3 to 5 reps in total. Front scale to back scale, working on 3 to 5 per side for balance and just prepping those tissues and those joints. Windmill, 3 to 5 a side. We're going to work on a little bit more single leg work in that single leg RDL, 3 to 5 a side, and a single leg good morning with rotation for 3 to 5 a side. So a nice little prepper just to make sure the body's feeling pretty good. We're then going to move into a practice round. The practice round will be listed on the workout description. It's just going to be a slightly less volume style of work set to get you prepped and ready for the movements we're going to be playing with in our workout today. So make sure you take a peek at that, get yourself comfortable, and we'll get ourselves ready to go. So our work set today is 3 rounds. Goblet Squat, 60 seconds. 3-second eccentrics. We're working that negative all the way down, keeping those squats nice and vertical. Rest of 15 seconds. We'll then move into a lateral ski jump, a vertical hop of 60 seconds of just continuous movement. 15 seconds of rest. Then we're going to move into a dumbbell floor press of 30 seconds per side. Again with that 3-second transition, 3-second eccentric on the way down, plus giving yourself that 10-second transition between sides. All right, so making sure we take that 10 seconds to set up on the other side properly and well. 15 seconds of rest. We'll then move into our lateral ski with vertical hop again of 60 seconds, into a 15 seconds of rest, and then our foot assist pistol of 30 seconds aside. Again, keeping to that 3-second eccentric per rep, and give yourself that 10-second transition on the other side. So after we're done the pistol, you get a full minute. Take advantage, get yourself kind of pulled together. Think about some of your movements, what you want to make your focus on in each one for the next round, and then tackle the next round. We got 3 of them coming your way. So let's get you warmed up, let's get you ready, have some fun with some strength. Alright, you guys, let's have some fun. Let's get warmed up. We'll take the arms big and tall up overhead. We'll stretch it to one side. We'll take it over to the other side. Big stretch. We'll take it all the way down to the floor, touching those toes. We'll walk up those shins. We'll come down to frame of foot. Step it back into your lizard, nice and square in your hips. We're going to take the inside hand all the way to the sky. We'll rotate forearm down to the floor. We're going to come back up. We're going to rotate forearm to the floor. We're going to come back up. We're going to rotate one more time, forearm to the floor. Good. Coming back up, plant that hand, taking that outside hand back up to the sky. We'll plant the hand, step back into our down dog. As we reach those hips, set those shoulders. We'll press the heel, come back to center, and then come back into our plank. Stepping the other foot up. Inside hand again is going to reach way up to the sky. We're going to rotate gently through that nice range. We're going to come back up, then rotate. We're going to come back up, and then rotate. And come back up. Planting that hand, we'll take the outside hand to the sky. Planting the hand again on the floor, we'll step back into our down dog. Reaching those hips, let's press and hold the heel down this time. Switch it over, press and hold the heel. Come back to center, extend into our plank. Tiptoe those feet up. We'll roll ourselves up, big tall stretch overhead. Big reach. Bring those hands down. Whew. Let's get you guys fired up and ready to go. If you have any extra gentle kind of warm-up that you'd like to do, some movement stuff, please take that down now. Pause the video. We're going to move you through that general kind of focus from head to toe to get your body prepped and ready to go. We're going to kickstart off our day today with some good morning to Sumo squats. So we're going to get ourselves set up in that Sumo stance. I'm going to turn profile so that you can see my hips. But our stance is wider than our natural squat stance. So we're in that Sumo stance. My ribs are pulled in, my hips are set. I'm going to draw my hips back, keeping the big toe on the floor, and drawing those hips back to the back wall. And then stand tall, opening up to neutral, and setting that position. So again, drawing the hips back, really focusing on those big toes, weight through the midfoot, standing tall. So that's your hinge, that's your good morning. Now the sumo squat that we're gonna add in there is just, again, like our regular squat with a little bit more attention dedicated to those knees going out. Those hips go towards the heels, taking us into a nice upright squat, but we need to focus on those knees tracking the toes. So just a little bit more detail and focus on the way out, and we want to keep those big toes on the floor. So the exercise or work set you're doing today is going to go back and forth. It's going to be hinge, stand tall, squat. So working back and forth through those two movements, setting yourself up, making sure we're braced and solid through the ribs before we move into the squat. Likewise, before we move into that next rep, set those ribs and hips, pull into that good morning. Now our next exercise is a little different. We're going to work on our front scale to back scale. So we want to make sure though that this does not, big NOT, does not turn into just whipping your leg and body back and forth, all right? And just whipping it back and forth. We want to make sure we're staying focused on square hips, nice good balancing control. So what we're looking for, I'm going to face one rep for the front, one to the side. My hips are nice and centered and square. I'm going to point my toe out to the front. That's my leg that's going to do the work. I'm going to bring my hips square to the front and the hands can go where they need to. I'm going to lift my leg up into my front scale raise. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to transition it back. Pressing the heel back, hips stay square. And then hinge. Pressing that heel back to the back room. And then coming back up nice and tall. So it's very important that we work on keeping this hip square to the front and not rotating open to the side, square. So don't worry about how far down you go in that back scale raise. Focus on that square torso and square hip, and that will help a lot. Now from the side, what we're looking at again, toe is straight, nice and square. I engage the quad and that hip. I can touch my toe down, kind of drag it down loosely, square my hip, push the heel, and get that nice flat body position. Big toe down on the floor, standing up nice and tall. So really feeling that flat foot contact is going to give you that really good sense of balance. Now, using and transitioning from that front scale to the back scale, you can use as much foot on the ground as you need to transition and set up for that back scale. If you're like, I'm pretty solid with my balance, I can just transition right through, set and go, do it up. Test your balance and work it just a little bit more as you work on the transition. But if you do need to put your foot down in between those two reps, please do so. I want you to set up both movements so that they both have equal strong focus and attention to detail. So front scale, set, back scale. We'll do that 3 to 5 per side, taking your time to prep the knee joint, prep the ankle, and really focus on those square hips. After that combo, we're going to move it back into our sumo stance. And we're going to work on some windmills. So we're going to take one hand, pushing it down to the floor. The other hand is going to kind of screw in that light bulb so we get that really good shoulder position. I draw my hips back and rotate the low rib as I keep focusing on that maintaining of the shoulder up towards the ceiling. From there, I can either alternate, reset the shoulder, press the hand, pull and rotate, or I can do all the reps on one side and then all the reps on the other side. Remembering that screwing in the light bulb is meant to set that shoulder. You want to maintain the shoulder position and rotate at the low rib so the shoulder moves with the torso, not on its own. So a very key thing to think about. If you notice that the shoulder's starting to move on its own, just stop your rep, come back up, and then work to that range again. Don't worry about touching the floor. Just take it to where you can, come back up with control, and then take down the next rep. Once we're done our windmill, we're going to move into a single leg RDL. We're going to keep these unloaded today, just to work on the hips and wake up the hamstrings. So I'm going to turn to the side. My feet are under my hips. My toe is my kickstand position. I'm going to pull my hips square to the front. I'm going to squeeze the imaginary dumbbell with my hands, just so I can get some engagement through my upper body and lats. And then I'm going to draw my hips back into that good hinge, like we practiced in the good morning, and then stand tall. I'm only worried about taking those hands just below the knee so I can feel that hamstring and get that really nice hinge and still maintain a slightly above 90-degree kind of hinge. So we're tapping into that hamstring and really working again on flat foot contact. After that, we're gonna stick with some single leg work, and we're gonna work on that single leg good morning with rotation. So we're gonna take one heel out in front. My feet are still about hip width stance. I'm gonna bring my hands up. They don't have to be knuckled together, but I just kind of like to keep that reference point there. I'm gonna squeeze and keep the hips square, drawing the hip back, just like we did in that RDL, and then rotate the lower rib towards that lead knee. Now, if you can't touch your knee or thigh, don't worry about it. Just take it back, work that strong hinge, rotate to where you can, and then come back up nice and smooth. So just nice and steady through that piece, making sure that we're feeling it in that upper hamstring glute, not in the calf or the foot. If we're feeling it down in the lower leg, we want to make sure that we're squeezing our glutes and setting, or not going as far back into that hinge. So we want to make sure we feel that in the upper glute, upper hamstring, lower glute. Taking your time with that, because you're rotating and standing on one foot, so we want to make sure that we're not losing our balance and getting the most out of that. But take your time. We got 3 to 5 reps per side. It's a great way to wake up your hamstrings and wake up that T-spine a little bit with some rotation. As a quick recap, we have a good morning to sumo squat for 3 to 5. Front scale to back scale, 3 to 5 a side. Windmill, 3 to 5 a side. Single leg RDL, 3 to 5 a side. And then single leg good morning with rotation, 3 to 5 a side. Good numbers right there. 1 to 2 rounds, take that down, get yourself prepped. We're gonna move into the movements of our work set today and get you guys ready to take on our work set. Okay, we're gonna start off our work set today with a goblet squat. So we've gone through the mechanics of the sumo squat, but now we're just gonna go through that goblet squat. Natural squat stance, except we're gonna pick this dumbbell up and we're gonna hold it up under the chin. So we're gonna hold this position under the chin, giving ourselves a little bit of engagement up into the dumbbell to keep our midsection turned on and active. My feet are gonna be in my regular squat stance. So slight turn out of the toe. My feet are gonna be roughly about hip to shoulder. Holding this dumbbell up, I'm gonna pull those ribs in, set those ribs and hips. I'm gonna try and keep my weight to the midfoot as I take my hips to my heels. Just like the sumo squat, my knees track my toes, but I don't have to push my knees out as much. So again, setting, hips to heels, nice flat feet throughout the entire squat, working that good 3-second eccentric down to the bottom. I only want you to take it down as deep as you can maintain position in that back position. So if we're losing perhaps our midfoot contact and we're shifting into our toes, we want to take a moment, we want to rest. If we're finding that we're rounding out and dumping in the bottom, we want to stop and take it to a certain range and maybe pay attention to that range. If you need to squat to a target, please do so, use it. Whatever tools you need to do to get that squat nice and solid, please take advantage. You have 60 seconds. Each rep is going to have a 3-second eccentric, so it's going to be a little slow, but take your time, rock it, and get that most out of those squats. After those 60 seconds of squats, you're going to rest 15 seconds. Then you're going to move into our lateral ski jump with vertical hop or lateral ski jump. So I'm just going to break it down. First things first, the lateral ski. We're going to load our leg, getting ourselves all ready, and then I'm going to use that upper body to swing those arms and explode over to the other side. Pausing, explode. Pausing, explode. So we're working on joining the upper body and the lower body engagement to get that nice explosion of power into that lateral movement. Now, if you're not a jumper, you can do the same thing just with a step. Step, step. So my foot's not coming off the ground till the other foot has touched the floor, and then I can either drag along the ground or I can just pull it in to that same position that it just was, maintaining that nice solid balance and that control and that lateral energy. Now, if you'd like to add in the vertical hop, what that looks like, we get set, be lateral, vertical, lateral, vertical, lateral, vertical. Or we can work on a non-jumping option, which is lateral high knee, lateral high knee. So you can do either one. Something I find that people kind of find and have trouble with this one is they try and join the vertical hop too soon. You'll notice I kind of pause briefly in that vertical, that lateral ski, So I jump, gather myself into my vertical. Jump, vertical. I'm not trying to do it as soon as I hit the ground for my lateral ski. I'm making sure that I can change directions well with good positioning. So don't feel like you have to rush that. I find people try and speed that transition up too much or too fast, and they tend to get themselves a little bit messed up. So take your time. We're just trying to learn how to change from lateral energy to vertical energy. You can do that with a jump, without a jump. So have some fun with that. You have 60 seconds. It's not meant to be taken down at a gut-busting pace to tire you out. It'll tire you out a little bit, but it's not meant to leave you like, I'm tired, right? We should be kind of recovering, getting ready, getting some different coordination movements in there. It's going to keep you warm and keep you moving. Once we're done our 60 seconds, we get a 15-second rest, and in that 15-second rest, we're going to lay down on our back with our dumbbell. We're going to get our feet just outside the fingers, just like if we were going to do a bridge. Now from here, we're going to keep our ribs in, but we're not trying to hollow out and push the low back against the floor. We're just keeping them neutral. From here as well, my elbows are going to be at about a 45-degree angle from my body, and I'm going to have one hand out to the side, one hand holding the dumbbell. In that position, I'm nice and set in this 45-degree position. I'm going to get tight, and I'm going to push that dumbbell up into that nice over-the-shoulder position. Then I'm going to finish with that dumbbell in the 45 by the chest. I tend to rotate the dumbbell a little bit when I come down, and then when I come up, I rotate so it's horizontal, and then I pull it back so it's a little bit more on an angle with my torso. And that's fine. If you feel comfortable just keeping it like so, awesome, but I find most people like to be in this slightly open position at the bottom of the press. So take your time with that floor press. We're looking at a nice 3-second eccentric down to the floor, working on that good control and maintaining that position through the ribs and through the shoulders. All right? So we have 30 seconds per side with a 10-second transition in between sides. Then we have a 15-second rest. We move back into our lateral ski jump with vertical hop. We get another rest, and we're going to move into our foot assist pistol. We have 4 variations of this pistol, and they all kind of stem in terms of degree of difficulty. I'm going to get my feet underneath of my hips, and I'm going to bring one foot pretty close, toe on the floor, pretty close to my heel. I'm about half a foot's distance away from my heel. So I have this here for a kickstand position. The majority of my weight is over my midfoot and over this balancing leg. I'm going to square my hips up. I'm going to take my hip down towards my heel, staying over top of my foot, and then I'm going to push through that balancing leg, standing to full extension. I'm going to use that 3-second eccentric to take it down. I'm going to push through that midfoot to stand tall. Again, like any other squat, we're just going to take it down to the range that we can control and maintain position with. So I want you guys to listen to your body. It may be less range than your normal air squat or your goblet squat, and that's okay. But I want you to make sure that you're focusing on where you're at for your range and your body position. Now the next variation, we can load that foot assist. So the toe is in the same spot, my weight's over the same leg. I'm just going to hold the dumbbell in the goblet position. Hip goes to the heel, same position, same focus of weight, and stand. Now if I'm getting a little bit more convenient with that and I'm getting solid, same depth that I'm hitting with the empty hand, I've played with some different loading with that. I'm like, getting better with this. This is solid. You can take away that kickstand leg. And now this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. We can still use the foot assist to maintain some sort of engagement in square hip position, but we don't have the balance with the foot assist on the floor. So you're going to have to work on the balance and that weight shift as we go. Keep thinking about the big toe down and that flat foot contact as we go down into the bottom of that pistol. Last but not least, we can take that dumbbell, pop it up in the goblet, and then we can work that same foot on the back of the heel with a little bit of load, but don't jump right to that one. Take some time and make sure both sides are relatively balanced and solid with that, without the kickstand leg before loading that one. We want to make sure that both legs are caught up to speed and we've built a good foundation. Pick your pistol positioning, pick the one that's going to work you best, and kind of build that foundation to get you into a full pistol one day, perhaps in that nice smooth leg to the front position. Now, after that, you get a full 60 seconds rest. You take it down again, changing loads out if you like, keeping the same, but working on that good quality movement all the way through. So we have our goblet squat, 60 seconds, rest 15, lateral ski jump to vertical hop, 60 seconds, rest 15, dumbbell floor press, 30 seconds per side, rest 10 seconds of transition, pop it to the other side, then we get a 15-second rest back into our lateral ski plus vertical hop, 60 seconds, 15-second rest, 30 seconds per side with the pistol with that 10-second transition, followed up with a nice long 60-second rest. All of these movements, except for the jumps, have a 3-second eccentric, so we're working that slow tempo down, normal speed up, to help build and own that range that we are using and exploring in our workout today. So use this, have some fun, work the strength, work the quality of movement today, and take that intensity down a little bit from what we've been having throughout the week. It's not going to be easy, but your heart rate's not going to get as high as some of the workouts from yesterday or the day before. I hope you have fun with this one, you guys. Enjoy, have a ton of fun, always working for quality, and enjoy. Bye, you guys. See you tomorrow.